Morning students, welcome to your computer class. Students, today we are here to revise our chapter 1, which is networking concept. Now if you remember students, we were discussing about networking concepts, and I explained that a computer network comprises of multiple computers. So any network, there should be a lot of computers in it. The purpose of it is communicating and sharing data and resources, and each computer in a network each computer in a network is called a node. Next is, what are advantages of computer networking? First thing is communication. So when you have a lot of computers connected to each other, the communication becomes easy. Next thing is sharing of hardware resources and software. Now what happens is, if you remember, we don't have printer in every room of our school, but through network we can connect our systems to the printer which is there in the office. And if I give a command, let's take an example from the computer lab. If I give a command to print a paper or any document, then straight away it will be printed in the office. Now what is happening is, we are sharing the hardware resources. There is one printer, but the entire school can use it at their convenience. Next thing is sharing of software. If you remember, we install software only in the server, right? And all the other in computing systems get the software in it. So we are not installing in all of the system, we just install it in one and we share it with other computers. So it reduces the sharing of software, becomes much more easier. Now preserving informations can be preserved very easily. Now once, if you remember, during your test, when you save the file, I take a backup of it and I have all the copies of the files which you have submitted after the practical test. So that preserving of information becomes very easier. If it is not a network, if there is an individual system, then you can understand that every time we'll have to go to one system, sit there, take a pen drive, take a backup, and then go back again and transfer it to the server. So that will be very time consuming and very tiring. So this network gives us this advantages. Now since we are sharing all the resources, we are sharing the hardware, we don't need a lot of printers, we don't need a lot of software, so we are reducing the cost also. So it is cost effective. Redundancy. Now a network normally reduces the need of hard copies, because everything is there online. Now we are sharing files over the network. The need of hard copies of reports and any other information, we can avoid it. So duplication of data is completely stopped. Sharing of documents quickly. If I create a question paper and if I put it on the network, all of the students can access that same question paper at the same point of time. Now updated data, that networking always helps us to deliver updated data. Whatever information is updated in the server, that same information will be given to all the network computers, all the nodes. Next, we are going to talk about components of a network. Now, there are few components we need here. One is the modem, which stands for modulator and demodulator. We know that it is a medium which is used to exchange information from computer and the internet, and we use the telephone line. We also know that it converts the digital signal computer into analog form so that they can travel over telephone line. Next is the network interface card. Network interface card is also known as the Ethernet card or the LAN card. You would have seen it in all the system which is there, and each NIC card has a ROM chip on it which has got the unique number in it, and that is called the MAC address or the media access control number is there. Students, this is the number which normally the law enforcement agencies like the police, the CBI, the information directorate or the cyber cell use this number to find out from which device a particular threat message or any kind of offense is committed. So this number is important. Next comes the hub. Hub, if you remember, if generally used to connect two or more computers. We cannot directly connect the computers all together, right? So we need a medium to connect the system with the other devices. Hence, we use a hub. Now the function performed by hub simply forwards the packet of information which they have received to all the computers which are connected in it. Now hub, you can, if you have seen the small box which is there in our lab where all the cables are connected, when the cable gets loosened up, the network gets, this particular system gets disconnected. That is the one I am talking about. That's an hub. Normally it is used for small setups, small network setups. Next comes the switch. Switch is connected to a computer, and generally it is used in the large organization where there are heavy network, when the lot of systems are connected and a huge network is formed. This is much more efficient than hub because it provides better efficiency. Right now, this the network speed is not compromised, and it somewhere act as a booster which provides system switch the network to perform much more faster and much more effectively. Next thing is the wireless network card. Wireless network card, these days nobody uses it, but in few systems, few desktop, you would find that this is used. Now if you see the picture in your book, in your computer book, in page number 9, there is a small antenna which is cropping out. So the card sits on the motherboard and there is an antenna which just comes out from the system. So your desktop, you can make it wireless if you want by using this card. Next is the router. Router is the device which is used to make the particular area Wi-Fi or wireless enabled. So what we do is the main line from the internet which is coming, we connect it to the router, and there are two towers which are, you can see it in the picture here, the blue and the black, and the two towers like the horns that emits signals and make that particular area wireless enabled. Now routers are enabled available in different range, where N series routers are considered as the best. So if you're planning to make your particular house or some wireless, then I would recommend you to go for a N series wireless router. Next, we are going to talk about types of computer network. First comes is the LAN, which is the local area network. So two or more computers and peripheral devices are connected in a very small area such as room, office or building. Next comes the metropolitan area network. As the name suggests, metropolitan, it covers the city. Now the example for this can be cable television branches, branches of local banks, and ATM not the ATM network, but any other such small networks which can be covered in the town or the city is called as the metropolitan area network. Next comes the WAN. That's the wide area network. It is a network of global computer that is used and it's formed connecting LAN. So once you connect LANs and MANs, then a new network is formed which is called as WAN. Internet can be an example of WAN. So here we are about metropolitan, we have WAN, then we are going to talk about PAN. What is a PAN? Personal area network. Now this network is organized around a person. It is used for communicating devices such as printers. Now hotspot, mobile hotspot, which you generally use at home to connect different phones or your laptop, or if you have a desktop with Wi-Fi enabled, you connect to them and get the internet connection, is example of personal area network. Transmission media. Next, transmission media, there are two types of transmission media. One is the wired transmission media and the wireless transmission media. So which means how would you transmit the signal, whether you are going to transmit through wire or whether you are going to transmit it through wireless. First we are going to talk about wired transmission. So in wired transmission, first thing I'm going to talk about is the twisted pair cable. This cable was developed by Alexander Graham Bell, and you can see there are two pictures. The below picture is of the UTP cable and the STP cable. So STP is the shielded twisted pair cable and the UTP is the unshielded twisted pair cable. Now this is used for telecommunication and computer networking. Next is the coaxial cable. Coaxial cable was developed by Oliver Heaviside in 1880. Now this cable is, you can see first there is an outer plastic coating, then there is a shield which is silver in color, then there is a plastic insulator, and then there is a copper wire which is also a conductor. This coaxial cable is used by satellite TV boxes, your set-top boxes. The cable which goes there is an example of coaxial cable. Next is the optic fiber cable. Narendra Singh Kapani, who is also called as the father of fiber optics, is the person behind optic fiber cable. Students, I hope all of you have written this in your notebook, because earlier when I mentioned it. Those who have not done it, I once again request you to make a note of it. It is very important and not mentioned in your book. So it consists of a central glass core and transmits signals over the long distances. Now the video conferencing which we have today is only possible because of the optical fiber cable. Examples of these technology, the optic fiber technology, can be the high speed internet or the broadband internet. Next comes the wireless transmission media. In wireless transmission media, first we are going to talk about the radio wave transmission. Now this transmits music, conversation, picture and data invisibly through air. Here the signals can travel thousands of miles, right? And the radio frequency is also used by Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Now if you remember, or if you would have seen, on a hilltop they normally build a tower, and that tower covers a huge area and it is connected to the satellite. So from the satellite the signal is transmitted, and that particular region in which the signal is transmitted gets the signal. Next comes the Bluetooth wireless technology. Harald Blatan, the person behind the name of Bluetooth, is derived from there, and he is from Denmark. This is a very popular wireless technology. This technology was invented by Ericsson, which is a Swedish company, and the maximum data transmission range is 10 meters and 33 feet. Now even your phone has got a Bluetooth. You would have seen the keys, the car keys, normally they have got the Bluetooth option. Your music system in your car has a Bluetooth. Your music system at your home is also Bluetooth enabled. And if you talk about your wireless headphones, that are also Bluetooth. So Bluetooth technology has slowly gained momentum in these years. Next we are going to talk about is the Wi-Fi, which is wireless fidelity. It is the infrared waves which was discovered by William Herschel. Now it uses radio technology to provide secure, reliable and fast wireless connectivity. Wi-Fi, we all use it and we understand what normally is a Wi-Fi. Next we are going to talk about infrared technology. This is a technology which has been taken over by Bluetooth. Very small range of communication. Waves cannot penetrate through walls or any obstructions. Examples are television and remote control. So earlier students, when Bluetooth technology was not there, we used to transfer data from personal handheld devices to the computer using the infrared technology. At that point of time, what happened was, when the data transfer is taking place, if you slightly move the device either closer or far from the other device, the signal or the connection used to break and the file never used to get transferred, and it has to be started from the beginning. Before starting, we have to do pairing also, and pairing also was very time consuming. So now this technology is just got limited with televisions and remote control. Next comes is the microwave transmission. So microwave transmission is best alternate to the coaxial cable. Building a transmission tower is cheaper than laying a cable. Now if you want to make a connection in a particular town, then laying cables can take a lot of time. Rather, setting up one tower and providing signals to the entire town is much more cheaper and much more economical. So microwaves can pass through Earth atmosphere very easily. So small obstructions also, even if it is there, if there is a tree, if there is a bird, or if there is any geographical hurdles like the hill or the mountain, it can also cross through that other side and provide signals. Next, we are going to talk about network topologies, the approach of connecting network to different areas is known as topology. It is an arrangement or layout in which various components of computers are connected to each other. First, we are going to talk about bus technology. It is a single cable or the backbone is supplied and the other computers are connected to it, and the data communication flows in both the direction. If you are setting up a small network, then you can think about bus topology. Next is the ring topology. The computer's devices are connected in a closed circuit which is round in shape. So there is no central device or anything which is being connected. Telecommunication signals flows in one direction because it is a circle. Wherever it starts, it comes to an end. So ring topology forms one complete circuit. Next is the star topology. The computers are connected by a cable to a central device or hub. So students, here we are putting a hub or a switch, right? The communication here takes place through the switch. Now these are suitable for banks, airline reservations and offices, and even in large organization. Next is the mesh topology. Every computer connected to every computer in the network directly. So there is again no central device here. So computer can be connected in two methods. One is the full mesh and the partial mesh. Full mesh would be very expensive, whereas partial mesh is economical. Next we are going to talk about is the tree topology. The tree topology, it combines the characteristics of bus and star topology, allows us the easy expansion of an entire network. Group of star topology networks are formed which are connected to bus through a backbone cable. Next, we are going to talk about network security. Very important. Every organization tries to protect their network and they use two types of security. One is the login security and second is the write security. Login security means now you just cannot go ahead and log into a Reliance internal website which they use it in manufacturing and log in there and see what they have made today and how much units they have manufactured today. Because you don't have the ID, you don't have the password. Once you are part of that organization, then the IT department issues you a login ID and a password. So that is login security. Now, let's take an example. You have joined Mahindra & Mahindra. You are working in the manufacturing as an automobile engineer. So you will be able to access everything related to your automobile manufacturing. Will you be able to log in and check what finances exchanges have taken place? The answer is no, you will not be able to access it because that is not related to your job. So here we give the write security. Write security means what all information you can access. You can only access manufacturing, how much units have been manufactured, what are the old stocks which is there, how many units have been shipped out today, what is the spare stock you have and all the other thing, but you will not be able to see what is the shareholding pattern of the organization today, neither what is the cash reserve, how many credit is there, what is the share changing take, all those information you will not be able to access. So this is the write security. It is very important for everyone to provide network security to our organization in which we are working. So here this is the login security. Here we are talking about the password. Password should comprise of alphabets in lowercase, uppercase, numbers and special characters. Write security, unnecessary access may risk the network and data security. Information which you don't need, even if that access is given, then there are high risk that there might be some kind of loss of data. Periodical review of access control enhances the network security. For employees, those who have left, for those who have moved to different department, it's very important that every 2 to 3 months the access should be reviewed. Suppose from automobile engineer you have moved to the finance director position, so you will be able to see information now only related to finance. You don't need anything related to manufacturing, so your manufacturing access should be revoked and a new access to your finance should be given. So students, brings us to the end of the class. Let's make a note of our homework. There are two homework here. we will write the full form of all the abbreviation mentioned in the chapter. I have given one which is modem, modulator and demodulator. Second is MAC, which is media access control. So similarly, you will have to find them, right? For example, MAC, you put a dash and that write media access control. Your second homework is write the name of all the personalities along with their inventions and discoveries mentioned in this chapter. I've given you one more example here, twisted pair cable, Alexander Graham Bell, and all those names which has been given, you will have to make a note of it in your computer notebook. Please put the heading revision chapter 1, put today's date, and you can do these 2 questions in your computer notebook. Just in case if you have any questions related to today's class or if you have any doubts, feel free to reach me through the comment section. So thank you for your time, students, and have a wonderful day ahead.